Episode 58 Boomer Guitar Sessions. I'm Rod, and today what we're going to do is we're going to build your blues rock guitar toolkit. So what does that entail? A little bit of talk about phrasing, a little talk about all the sources of how we can create blues melody. And I say blues, I'm talking about Gary Moore, I'm talking about Joe Bonamassa, I'm talking about Jimmy Page, I'm talking about Jimi Hendrix, I'm talking about all the 70s rockers, I'm talking about Cream, I'm talking about Humble Pie, I'm talking about Mike Bloomfield, I'm talking about blues and blues rock. I don't know, whatever that means. Beyond just Chicago blues, like in the 70s, everybody's borrowing from the Chicago blues musicians. So with that said, let's get started. I have 10 different ways in which things we can consider while we are coming up with melody over top of a blues progression. Okay, so let's get started. First, number one is create phrases and play phrases as practice. Practice playing phrases. Don't practice just playing scales. If that's what you practice when you're practicing your scales over playing over the blues, it sounds like you're playing a scale. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. So with that said, what is the first scale that we all learn, and we're gonna learn it here? The minor pentatonic is ground zero for blues soloists. Let's talk about it a little bit. The minor pentatonic is like I once had a teacher that says this is all you need to learn. And that's not true either. It's not all you need to learn, but it's in a lot. It can do a lot of things, and it can solve a lot of problems. So, what the minor pentatonic scale is, if those who don't know, is that scale fingering, and it is minor based. Now, along with the minor pentatonic scale, what we can do is we can add the flat 5 interval, sharp 5, sharp 4, and that makes it what is called a blues scale. So all that stuff is like ground zero. So that is like where we start. Everybody, I think, kind of knows that. Like that's what probably the only thing some people have been taught. I remember when I was in college, when we played the blues, that is the only scale we were given in college. This is not the Berkeley education that I got. This was other schools. I went to 3 different colleges, and some of them were better than others. But anyway, with that said, the major pentatonic scale, or the minor pentatonic scale, that is a place to start, and you can inject that sharp 4 interval in there, and that makes it a blues scale. And that's a ton of different stuff we can borrow from. We listen to Leslie West and Mountain. We listen to Humble Pie, Steve Marriott more than Peter Frampton. But we listen to Led Zeppelin. We listen to all kinds of things, and we'll get that sound. Now, what not enough people talk about is number 3, which is major pentatonic sound. So if we did that same scale or that same chord progression, the major pentatonic scale. So this is, some people don't know this, but it's absolutely usable, that over a dominant 7th blues progression, you can do major pentatonic and minor pentatonic, and they both sound, it sounds different, It's like a spice you would use. One spice, salt, pepper, whatever. That is your major pentatonic scale. Lots of blues is that way, and it's like people don't know how do we think about that? That's the major pentatonic scale. Okay, so number 4, we're going to go back to minor pentatonic, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add some of the major notes. So 2 in particular I want to concentrate on is the one is going to be your major third, which we talked about in the previous video. Which you can play or you can bend. And when we do this, we can do this in a way that's not replacing the minor third, but it's in conjunction with the minor third. That's your minor third. Okay. So to hear both of those notes is it's a bluesy thing to do. And the other interval we're going to use is going to be the 6th interval. So in a blues, there's your 6. There's your 6. So that is going to be that just by adding those notes to a normal minor pentatonic scale, that is something we can do. And that is super useful. Now, next we can just cut the rope all together and combine the major pentatonic scale into one long scale. Some people call this the Chuck Berry scale, which I do from time to time, Chuck Berry scale. Others know that it was older than that. T-Bone Walker scale, people have also called it that. And it's like, this goes back to even Charlie Christian. So what we're doing here is this is your minor pentatonic. This is your major pentatonic. And if we combine the 2 scale, all right? Okay, so that is the T-Bone Walker scale, the Chuck Berry scale, if you will. That's a T-Bone Walker scale. So now next thing is let's get smart with our pentatonics. So let's get smart with, we're going to take in a jazz concept. The jazz concept is called guide tones. Now, what guide tones means is like you want to be hitting some of the thirds and sevenths in your phrases. You are landing on thirds and sevenths. So if I'm playing an A7 chord, the third of that chord is going to be right there. So when it comes around, when it's on the 1 chord, accent that note. Okay. When it goes to the 4 chord, which is D7, that C sharp becomes a C natural. That C sharp, that's the third in the 1 chord, it's the flat 7 in the 4 chord. So what you need to know, it's a lot of theory, is accent that note when it's on the A7 chord, stop on that chord when it's on the 4 chord. Now another thing we can think about is kind of major sounds on the 1 chord. More minor pentatonic when it goes to the 4 chord. It's a little thing, little tapping thing. Off the script. So anyway, so that's a thing. That's a thing. Okay, so the next thing is thirds and sevenths. Double stops, not just thirds and sevenths. Any kind of double stop. Double stops dealing with 2 notes. So when we're playing, if we interject that into our playing, that's a double stop. So this would be a 6th. This would be a 3rd. This would be a unison. There's unison. Those unison bends are also double stop, not unison bends. Bends within the pentatonic. That's an important part of the sound you hear. Number 9 would be blue notes. Blue notes are these added intervals we add to things in order to, like, if I'm playing over an A7 chord, a blue note would be. The minor third to major third is a blue note combination. The flat 7 is a blue note. This 4, the sharp 4. Those are all blue notes. So the blue notes are notes we could add to a scale that's flat 3 and 3, flat 5 to either 4 or flat 5 to 5, and then flat 7. Usually the 7 is an avoid note, but anyway, anytime you put blue notes into something, or makes everything sound more bluesy. All right. Lastly, what my big advice for you, as always, is get a backing track. Mine for your favorite artists. Listen to your favorite artists and how they approach the blues. Take their phrases, take their sounds. Don't just figure out their notes and solos note for note. Play in phrases, but take, like, right now I'm on a Mike Bloomfield kick. I'm on a Robin Ford kick. I'm on, I always go back to Gary Moore. I also like the regular Stevie Ray Vaughan is always an inspiration as well. So any one of those, Joe Bonamassa, how could we forget Joe? Because he does this all day long, what we're talking about. All right, so mine their music and their phrases and their solos and everything, and figure out some of it conceptually. What is he doing, and how can I recreate that? How can I recreate that? Okay, how can I repurpose it even better? All right, so until next time, this is Rod. I appreciate you. I know you can do this. This is fun. Enjoy the process. Start your bands and play some blues today. I'll see you next time. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember,